Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back to Inspired Delusions.
If you're new here, my name is Kayma.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are the co-hosts of your newest favorite podcast.
Or your already favorite podcast. We love talking about all things being delusional, manifesting, living your best life, living your best luxurious life.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But today we actually wanted to talk to you guys about something that one of our community members had brought up to us.
I feel like this topic has been brought up in a few different things
scenarios
lately. Yeah. But yeah, one of our members was asking us about it and we're like, ooh, this is a really good question.
Yeah, it was a good question. So he just asked us to explain to him what the law of polarity was. And in super like layman's quick terms, I kind of was like, well, it's just like it's the ebb and flow, right? It's the up and down, it's the in between, it's the sad versus joy type of moments. But then it sparked a lot of conversation with Liv and I offline. And so we just wanted to bring that here with you guys.
Yeah. The law of polarity and feeling the whole spectrum of emotions in life is a really good thing.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing. And this is something I've thought about before too, of if we were born into a perfect world, like we were born into this utopia, perfect world, nothing bad happening, we would be born and just be like, oh, okay, this is we would be like, this might feel a little boring almost. Like you just think it's normal. If you were just born into this perfect world, you would think it's normal and you wouldn't think it's good because we don't have that contrast. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the definition of law of polarity, it just says that everything has an equal and opposite counterpart, and one cannot exist without the other. So it's just saying like one coin, two different sides.
Yeah.
And so with that, we'll see like light versus dark, joy versus sadness, success versus failure. And it's just the idea that you can't really understand or feel one without knowing or understanding the other.
Yeah, without the contrast.
Without the contrast. It's really, really beautiful actually, because it just means that nothing is really separate. Everything is just two ends of the same like energetic spectrum.
Yeah.
Which is what we were kind of saying earlier. When I was first learning about the law of polarity, it kind of got me excited because I was like, okay, if I want anything, but I'm experiencing like the other end of it, it's kind of a good thing. Let's say, like I'm feeling lack, for example, right? The opposite end of lack is abundance. So if I'm feeling lack and I'm having these moments of maybe uncertainty or I'm feeling some type of way about it, I can choose in that moment and decide, hey, the lack isn't really resonating with me. I want to move in the direction of abundance. And so law of polarity just tells me that I'm kind of already there and I just need to put myself in motion to like move towards the abundance. So it doesn't mean that I'm doing anything wrong. It's just I'm on the opposite end of what I want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it just proved to me like, okay, I can get whatever I want. I noted the things that I don't like. And so I can now start moving in a direction of things that I do want. And because I'm feeling this one initial feeling of lack, I know that abundance out there exists because everything in the law of polarity has to have an opposite.
So it's like when you're feeling the quote unquote bad feelings, it means there's an opposite to it. And that means that you can get to the opposite. And like Abraham Hicks talks about this. I think you have an example from Abraham Hicks, but Bashar also talks about this. And I saw a TikTok from him recently where he was talking about how like fear and anxiety are actually good. Well, they can be used for good. It's kind of a good thing if you're feeling fear and anxiety because it means that you have like it's related to the law of polarity because that means we can move to the other end of the spectrum, right? But he talks about how fear and anxiety is actually a good thing that you're experiencing that because it's showing you that you have something in misalignment. Like if you're feeling fear, I love how he talks about this because he's saying if you're feeling fear is actually a good thing because it means some belief that you have is untrue. Right? If you have a fear that someone's not going to like you, if you have a fear that you are not going to be able to pay your bills, if you have a fear that, you're unlovable, those are all not true things. So it just means that you have a belief system that is out of alignment of like your true self, of your, core higher self. So fear is actually a good thing because it's telling you need to dig within and figure out what's misaligned so then you can get rid of that, if that makes sense. And I think fear is motivational. Fear like gives us energy. Fear gives us like this push to actually do something, right? It's like a survival skill. So if you start using the fear and those anxiety feelings, trying not to just sit with it and make it last forever, like realizing, oh, you can switch, right? We can get out of this feeling. We can move to the other end of the spectrum, right? As the law of polarity says. But it's actually like, okay, so let's use this to figure out what is in unalignment, what is in misalignment, and let's work through that so we can get to the other end.
Yeah, I love the word alignment, and we should start using it more because nothing is ever bad, right? It's just, you're just misaligned. It's just not in the right vibration that you are.
Yeah.
And so using that perspective shift of, okay, I'm misaligned. This doesn't really resonate with me. This doesn't feel right. This makes me feel emotions or feelings that I don't want to feel. Let me use this time to maybe learn something, to get clear on something, to reorganize where I am, and then shift towards a better feeling.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Abraham Hicks talks about that a lot. And she just says, like, it's really actually a great thing when you feel something that doesn't feel right with you, because then you're like, hey, thank you, universe, for showing me that I don't really like this. Thank you to myself for, getting really clear on what I do want and like using my intuition and building that stronger muscle so then I can start to do the things that I do want to do and that I can stay in that alignment.
Yeah, that's very heavy on the nothing's really bad, with grace and with there's some exceptions, some crazy stuff. But like really at the end of the day, like nothing is really bad because it is pushing us towards our alignment. It's showing us what's misaligned. It's showing us how we can, or it's showing us contrast, right? It's showing us like what we don't want. So then we can focus on what we do want. I think about that of like, I have had like back pain in the past. I'm working, it still happens sometimes, so we're working through it. But it's like, okay, I wouldn't appreciate my healthy functioning body as much if I didn't have that pain in the past. So it's like, okay, I think of that as an example. Another thing about how nothing's really bad, quote unquote bad. I was having a conversation with one of our friends the other day, and she had called me, which I felt very honored because she was like, I need your advice. You're so wise. I was like, okay, yes, period. And she was like, okay, you know how the universe humbles people? You know how the universe like balances things out and humbles people if you get too arrogant or if you get too proud. And I was like, I don't really necessarily believe that the universe humbles people per se. I think, and this kind of goes with the law of polarity, I think that everyone, whether you're a good person, whether you're an arrogant person, a quote unquote bad person, whatever, everyone gets moments of, being like tested, being triggered, like quote unquote hard or bad things happen to everyone, but it depends on how we react to it. It depends on our perception. If someone is, maybe like not trusting the universe and, quote unquote like arrogant or whatever, and something bad happens to them, they could think, oh, it's the universe humbling me. Or someone else could think, oh, it's the universe humbling them. They got too high up on their horse or whatever. Or if someone is maybe more connected with the universe, trusts the universe, has a higher perspective on things, you could see that bad thing as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn a lesson, an opportunity to alchemize and transform and transmute the pain and the bad things to ultimately end up even higher, and even growing even more. I think, does that kind of make sense? I was just basically saying like, I don't believe the universe humbles people. I think everyone has tests or has bad moments that we can literally transmute into going even higher, and whatever lesson we needed to learn that and move even higher in the future.
Yeah, I love that. I also don't think the universe humbles us. I think it's, again, just all ebbs and flows and just random things, but also not random things that are happening. And it's always how you react to it that matters.
How you react to it, totally.
But going off of that, guys, I have a new belief. And Olivia and I were kind of talking about this. I think in the past before on this podcast, and I think even last week to the member who was asking us about law of polarity, I had said like, oh, well, sometimes the universe maybe tests you. I don't think I believe that anymore, because then Olivia and I were talking about it afterwards, and I was like, well, actually, I don't think I think the universe at its baseline is neutral.
Yes.
But then more than that, I think the universe is always rooting for you and is always good.
Yeah.
So I feel like a test is kind of like a tricky statement, right? So I don't think the universe tests you. And for example, guys, like let's say you're working on your money mindset, you're working on abundance, right? And so you're saying, I'm so wealthy, I have so much money, I'm so rich, I'm so abundant in X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden you get into a car accident. And then you have all these new bills that arise. So in the past, I might have thought, okay, maybe that's the universe testing you to be like, are you really about the rich mindset? Are you really about the abundance? Are you really about the like everything's okay? But now I'm like, I don't I don't think it's a test because I don't think the universe goes out of its way to be like, gotcha. Are you really who you say you are?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more just sometimes things happen. Sometimes there is a randomness. Like we get caught up in other people's energies. We get caught up in, the day to day, and things happen. And it's always just an opportunity for you to act like your highest self and an opportunity for you to act like the person you're trying to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I know we were kind of going back and forth with that because I kind of don't hate the word test per se. I kind of like the word test. I think maybe saying opportunity is just as good or better than test, but I kind of like the word test because I'm like, yeah, if you test doesn't necessarily need to be like a bad thing. Like we go to school's a good thing, and we take tests, and like you take the test to make sure like a test is just to make sure what you're talking about. Like
no,
you know what I mean?
I don't know. It just feels weird to me. Like the universe is testing you. Like, do you really stand 10 toes down for these new beliefs you are deciding to believe? Okay, let's test you. Like, I don't know. It's just freaky. I think sometimes things really do happen, right? Random things. And then we were talking about like, well, what is random or isn't random? And that's a whole other conversation that we can get into. But let's just say for the sake of this argument, like sometimes things happen. So then it's just how do you react to it?
Yeah.
You are given an opportunity to react to it, but you're also given an opportunity to react to everything every day. And that goes into, the decision making, and that goes into whether or not you want to quantum leap into this new identity, whether or not you want to uphold these certain beliefs. But yeah, I think the universe definitely does not humble you. I think the universe loves you and will always give you a space to continue to grow, and always give you a space to be curious and to, try new things and to learn new things. And that's why, going back to the law of polarity, everything is so beautiful because and everything is neutral, because it gives you the chance to be like, okay, let me get really, really clear on what I do or don't like.
Yeah.
Another example is like, let's say you've never had a drink outside of water, right? And so then you go into a store and you have to try these drinks. You have to try a drink, like let's say coffee. I have to try a coffee to be like, oh my gosh, either I love this coffee, or oh my gosh, hey, I really hate this coffee, I never want to have this again. Right? So things happen to you in life, or you have these experiences in life where you have to have them in order to be like, oh, I want more of that, let's keep going, or yeah, I never want to have that ever again.
Yeah, it definitely gives you the opportunity to be like, oh, okay, I'm experiencing this, don't love it. Let me note that. It gives you an opportunity to figure out what you don't like. So then you can focus on what you do like. You can transmute that. You can, it gives you an opportunity rather than a test, an opportunity to be like, okay, how am I going to react to this? And realize it doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to, be the end all be all thing. And we can work towards like getting the things you actually want, right, and the feelings you actually want to feel.
Yeah, I think, the human experience, it's kind of nice to have down moments. And I think I've said this before, but grief, sadness, like those are beautiful emotions too. Like I think of grief of like nostalgia or sadness, or remembering when you had something that was like so amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think of ex like lover, ex friendship, or a loved one who passed or whatever, that feeling, that remembrance of like, oh my gosh, I have such a contrast now because I don't have it anymore, is like all part of the human experience.
Yeah. What was the quote from one of the Marvel movies? Was it one of the robots, or who said it in the Marvel movie? It was like, what is grief if not love persisting, or something?
Oh, no, I don't remember it, but that's actually perfect.
It's so perfect. It's like, what is grief if not like your love persisting on? But yeah, I mean, grief, or the quote unquote bad or hard feelings or sad feelings, that's part of the human experience. And I think when you're feeling down, quote unquote down, it's not actually bad or anything, but if you're feeling down, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling triggered, I personally really, really, really believe that can be one of the best times for growth and one of the best times for like, I think when I'm feeling down or when I'm feeling triggered, I kind of use that to dig even deeper and go even further down to be like, what am I really feeling? Why am I triggered? Why am I sad? Like if I'm already down, okay, let's dig even further down. So then you can actually heal that feeling, or you can actually work through that feeling. And I think that that's how you move through those feelings a little bit faster. We talk about that a lot on the podcast. Actually, I don't know if a lot. We've talked about it before of like the refractory period.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. Joe talks about how, of course, every human is going to feel sad. Every human is going to feel these down, bad, sad, hurtful emotions. But it's the refractory period, which means how long are you going to feel that? How long is it going to take you to move through that, to heal, to process, to like move through those hard feelings and get back to feeling, you know, quote unquote good. I think that moving through those feelings is helpful by actually letting yourself feel it, actually letting yourself cry, actually letting yourself feel your emotions. I've definitely heard or learned that a lot of our emotions only really, really, really need to be felt for like 90 seconds. So it's actually good to let yourself feel your feelings, let yourself like cry, let yourself be sad, like let yourself really like sit in those sad emotions to actually just let them pass.
Yeah. Well, I think about like animals or like anything in nature where something like really, you know, crazy or traumatic happens, right? They're like getting hunted, they're running for their life.
Yeah.
That happens, they're in their fight or flight. They do what they need to do to protect themselves. And then afterwards they shake, you know, they do some nervous system regulation, they shake their bodies, and then they keep going. And then they're back into like a state of peace. And so I think us humans, like, you know, we ruminate and we sit and we're so blessed to have, you know, these brains that can go back and think of these past things. But also sometimes it's like, okay, come on, we gotta be more animal in the sense of feel what you gotta feel, cut down that refractory period, right? Because when bad things happen to you or your loved ones, that's very real.
Yeah.
Right. Like we have to acknowledge that. We want to move through that. And then like, you know, you're gonna kind of move on back to a more neutral, if not better spot. So why not just get that quicker? That's everything that we really talk about in our membership as well, is like, you know, like our 3R formula, you know, you like recognize what's going on with you, rewire your brain to like look for the more positives and things. And then you regulate your nervous system so that your body can lock it in. So then you can be this person who gets to choose to move more towards what they want in their everyday life.
Yeah, heavy on the nervous system regulation, heavy on the regulating your nervous system to move through those feelings. Like I've probably said this example before of like if I'm crying or triggered or something, I typically try to like just shake my body, dance it out, go on a walk, like because I know that when I'm regulating my nervous system, when I'm like actually just moving that like the energy is in our body too.
Yeah.
Like, right, these feelings of anxiety, feelings of sadness it's not just in our mind, but it's in our body too.
Yeah.
So the nervous system regulation, I think really, really, really helps to cut down the refractory period or just move through those, you know, sad emotions.
Olivia earlier this week was like, you need to move your body. But do you want to know something so weird? In all the years that I was a nurse, I can count on one hand how many times I've gotten sick. Now that I'm not working bedside anymore, I've gotten sick so many times and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But anyways, I bring that up to say because earlier this week I like wasn't feeling good and I was just in bed the entire day, and Liv came into my room and she's like, Kayma, you should go on a walk. Like, I promise you, like if you walk, you're gonna feel better. And I'm just like, no, I'm sick. Like I need to lay in bed. But it's true, you know. Then I like got up, I you know, moved my body a little bit, sit out in the sunlight, and like it really does help. The nervous system regulation it's key. It helps you really move through the things.
You guys, we want to take just a quick moment and talk about our Inspired Delusions community because it really has, like, we've been doing it for a couple weeks now, and we want to do a quick plug because it actually really has evolved into something so beautiful. And I think it's just at the beginning stages. Like we're gonna keep growing, and we wanted to give a quick shout out because if you do want a place to encourage you, if you've ever felt like lost and being like, well, how do I actually, you know, rewire? How do I actually regulate? How do I actually grow and evolve and learn how to manifest? join our Inspired Delusions community.
Yeah, come join us, guys.
Yeah, come join us. And we just had one of our members share how she's like so grateful for the community and so grateful that everyone's so supportive and encouraging and things like that. So if you ever just want to be around like-minded people and be encouraged and have your daily reminders that we send, join our community.
Back to law of polarity though, oftentimes these, let's say, challenges, right? You're on one end of the spectrum. These challenges kind of give you clues on how to have a breakthrough. I see all these like manifestation coaches. The advice that they give, or some of the messages that they give, is like right before a really, really big, great, amazing thing happen to you or come to you or manifest for you, you have these moments of the opposite end of the spectrum.
1000%.
Right. And so that's what law of polarity is to me. It's like, it's listen, like if you're feeling something, just lock it in and be like, hey, you know what? If I can feel this, that means by law, the universe says that there's another emotion on the other side of this that I can also feel. And so if I'm going through this, it doesn't mean I'm too far away from what I want. It actually means I'm really, really, really close to what I want. I just have to figure out how to pivot, how to change my perspective and start going towards what I do want.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I'm so glad you brought that up of like, sometimes it's called like the tower moment of right before your manifestations come, right before you level up, right before you like quantum leap into this new amazing reality. A lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times your world will kind of crumble. Like a lot of things in your reality will kind of crumble because you are becoming like, you're not an energetic match. You're not a vibrational match to your old reality. So it's like you kind of, your world starts to crumble. And I think the same thing with like getting sick, you know. I think a lot of times it's like your body is transforming into your new self.
Yeah.
So Kames has actually just been leveling up a lot this year. But yeah, a lot of times right before you get your manifestations, right before your breakthrough, right before your entire life quantum leaps, you'll kind of have like a tower moment where you might get tested.
Yeah.
Just kidding, not tested. Or something quote unquote bad will happen, but it's really not bad. It's actually the universe like making room for what you need for your new life, for your new opportunity, or for your new person. What if it might be like you getting broken up with, it might be you getting fired, it might be you getting in a wreck or something like that. It's just like the universe has to make room for your new life.
Well, and that kind of reminds me, if you guys haven't listened to the episode, go listen to the Observer Effect with our special guest Guru Benny, because she kind of talks about it in that, where she's like, the world that we live in, it's all about balance, right? And so the universe, it's kind of like a big like web, a big puzzle. And so for one thing to happen, like a whole bunch of other shifts need to happen. And so the universe will do that. Like something might feel bad, it might feel weird, but it's just in order to like remove something so that another puzzle piece can fit for you. And that all goes back to us believing that the universe at the least is neutral, but at the most is like beneficial for you and is moving billions and billions and billions of puzzle pieces around to get you exactly what you want to get.
I mean, how many times has something quote unquote bad happened to us? And then, 6 months, a year, however long later, you look back and you're like, oh, thank God that happened. I always think about this example of not dating the person I wanted to date in college, because if I would have dated that person, my life, I would not be where I am now. And I'm just so grateful for my life now. So it's like, oh, thank God that guy didn't want me back then, and at the time it felt like the worst thing in the world. So how many times have we looked back and been like, oh, thank God I went through that, like not pain, but like sadness, pain, like thank God I didn't get what I thought I wanted or whatever. Went through that like tower moment, went through that like bad moment, because it actually was the best possible thing that could ever happen to me. And I definitely think the universe is on our side. Like, I think the universe is on our side. I think the universe is 1 trillion times smarter than us in our little human brains. And so many amazing things could be happening in the background and behind the scenes to get you what you want. And if something quote unquote bad is happening in your reality, it probably is just the universe, moving things on the like in behind the scenes to get you actually what you want.
No tests, just opportunity.
The universe will test you.
No tests.
No, just kidding. Yeah, opportunities, totally. I think opportunity is a good way to say it too, because like Bashar talks about that, and we should probably do a whole episode on that of like overcoming tests. No, I'm just kidding. Opportunities. Because Bashar explains it really well. Of like, okay, if you are leveling up your mindset, you're leveling up your life, your mindset, your identity, and something happens that used to really, really trigger you or used to make you feel really, really sad or like whatever. If that happens in your life again, how are you going to react? Are you going to react the same way that your old self did?
Right. Like, did you learn anything? Did you actually overcome it? Like, how are you looking at it now? How are you feeling about it now?
Yes. Who are you actually now? Because if you just freaked out and started reacting and behaving the same way you used to, then that means you actually haven't changed.
Right.
You know, so that, for example, some people call it tests, some people call it opportunities to be like, no.
Some people.
You know, but some people call it opportunities to be like, oh no, this actually is perfect because it gives me an opportunity to react as my new self, as my new identity. Of course, yeah, this isn't a big deal because my new self wouldn't freak out.
Right.
You know, and my new self knows that like that nothing is bad. My new self knows that I create my reality.
Right.
So I can keep it pushing. I don't have to let this derail my whole life and my whole mindset. And I can choose to like perceive it in a good way.
And let's say you do react poorly, right? Let's say you freak out again. That's also not a bad thing either, because hopefully you're at a stage in your journey where you are really working on the awareness aspect. And so even you catching that and being like, oh, actually, I don't think I really reacted to what I want my highest self to react as, that's really great too, because then you can reassess and like you can do the shadow work, you can meditate on it, you can, you know, journal on it, you can do some EFT tapping on it and see what you need to kind of readjust or fix or change, whatever, so that the next time another opportunity of learning and of growth arises, you'll be ready to face it as your highest self.
Yeah, heavy on the at least recognizing it. At least recognizing and being aware of your reactions, or if you do have a negative thought, a negative reaction, like something negative, at least being aware. It's so key. And we've talked to a lot of our community members and just a lot of people in general about like, oh, I'm doing this mindset work and then but I'm having all these negative thoughts. Like, well, what's happening? I'm having all and we're like,
good job.
It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's actually good because you're at least noticing it. Because in the past, before you start on this journey, before you start realizing that your thoughts create your reality, you probably were having all of these negative thoughts just on autopilot and you weren't even noticing. You weren't even noticing those negative thoughts. So now if you're noticing your negative thoughts, at least that's amazing, actually, because the awareness and the recognizing is the first step.
Yeah.
Part of our 3R formula.
But yeah, all in all, law of polarity. Hopefully this episode made sense to you guys and hopefully our examples gave you clarity. But yeah, like everything is meant to work in our favor. Everything is meant to push us. Everything is meant to give us clarity. So yeah, I really love this law because it just shows you like, hey, I do like what I do like and I don't like what I don't like. And so let me find more things of what I do like.
Yeah, heavy on the everything is happening for you.
Yeah.
You know, everything is happening for you. Even the quote unquote bad moments, even the hard moments, even the being triggered, everything is happening for you. And yeah, with the law of polarity, it's kind of like, okay, even those bad moments is literally showing you what you actually want, showing you, pushing you towards healing, towards growth, or giving you that contrast. So yeah, everything truly is happening for you.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys have an amazing rest of your week and keep being delusional and moving towards the things that you guys do want.
Yes. We love you guys so much. Thank you for continuing to give us 5-star ratings and 5-star reviews. We've been seeing those numbers go up. And yeah, we love you guys so, so much.
Yeah. Love you.